We are live. I just had to switch that microphone. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gym of Crypto, episode 1130. Today is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. I'm King here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10ish. And today is a 10ish day, so we're right on time. Top stories of the day: BlackRock Insider says Bitcoin ETF is likely 6 months away, says no regrets. Bitstamp to suspend trading of major altcoins for U.S. users. Russia to begin CBDC trials with 13 banks, and Brazilian CBDC gets official name and logo. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at what's going on with these prices. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin's coming in hot today. There we go. Hit that 30K mark again, at least momentarily. With Bitcoin right now is at $29,866, up 1.77%. Ethereum is at $1,859, up 1.35%. Number 5, Ripple at 66 cents, up 5.95%. Number 8, Cardano at 30 cents, up 2.36%. And number 10, Tron at 7 cents, up 0.19%. Trending tokens is Pepe coin that went up 13.36%. World coin is still trending up 0.05%. And Ripple, of course, up 6%. And the fear and greed index actually went up 3 points to still neutral at 53. But if you remember, we were at 50 just a couple of days ago. Bitcoin dominance is at 48.9%, and Ethereum has slipped another point. They're down to 18.8% dominance of Ethereum as well. So those are the prices on the day. And those trending tokens as well. Some quick shout outs. What's going on? Alapio, Rod, Kwanji, Jake, Billy Crush, Blockchain Bully. Good morning, everyone enjoying the show. I see the chat is kicking in right now. It's a little slow right now, but it's kicking in. All right. Now a lot of stories. Again, news cycle was slow yesterday. It's slow today. I presume it's going to be slow until we get some more ETF possible action, or until these regulators fully roll out their Fed Now and CBDC programs. And that's really what's on the top of the news today for the most part. First and foremost, BlackRock insiders say Bitcoin ETF is likely 6 months away. However, this is coming from Mike Novogratz, so I would take this with a grain of salt. Quote, we're going to fight like cats and dogs to win market share, unquote. Once spot Bitcoin ETFs are approved, said Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz. Now, a couple things to take in mind with this these statements from Mike Novogratz. He was saying this to his shareholders, and this is what he's saying to his shareholders after having continuous L's. I mean, this guy, when you talk about losing, he be losing it, but he still keeps getting chance after chance. For those who don't know Mike Novogratz, he transitioned over from Wall Street. Essentially, he was ran off of Wall Street. He lost a lot of money there, like hundreds of millions of dollars there. So they told him to get off Wall Street. He left Wall Street, came over to the crypto side. And as soon as he got over here, all of a sudden he was just on Cointelegraph all the time. They're always asking for quotes and comments, like he is the the Bitcoin, the crypto god. But this is also the same guy who got the Terra Luna tattoo on his arm. Let's see, Mike Novogratz, Terra Luna tattoo. So a couple things. I'm bringing this up. I'm not doing this to make fun of him or anything. I'm just bringing it up because you're on an earnings call after you keep guessing wrong. You lost a lot of money for your company. You got a tattoo of a scam on you. So again, everything he says when it comes to crypto, just like Wall Street, I take that with a grain of salt. Okay. This guy is almost late 40s, mid 50s, getting a Terra Luna tattoo on his arm. That's not someone I want to take my crypto advice from. So again, with that being said, I'm taking all this with a grain of salt. However, he semi is an insider because he still keeps getting these opportunities to do things like ETFs again as well. So United States first spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund ETF could be approved sometime before February, according to Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz, citing sources at BlackRock and Invesco. I mean, again, I kind of say the same thing, and I'm not even citing a source. I'm citing my own knowledge. I think it will happen like that only because in March, we're actually expecting the halvening. So, yes, anything before the halvening as far as ETFs are concerned are fair game. January, February makes sense. I even said that as well because I was like, hey, if we don't get it done before the holidays, which at this point, essentially, if we don't have an ETF before Thanksgiving, then the next time to have an ETF will not be until the end of January or February, which is right before the halvening, which goes along with this whole timeline. Again, usually for the United States, that mid-November until about January 20th we have Thanksgiving, Christmas break, New Year's, and then some states, depending on how much it snows, they actually get like a 2-week winter break. So for federal workers, you're talking about like no one's in the office from November 15th to January 20th, all the way out into that Martin Luther King Day holiday. We talk about this every year on this show. When they come back, we see a crazy amount of regulations come in, which we saw again this year, except it's been extending to summer, something we haven't seen as much before. But because it's extended again, it's August right now, September, October, November. We have 2.5 months to get ETF passed. If that does not happen, it's not getting passed until, yes, February, a month before the happening actually starts. So I agree with that timeline, not because, again, of BlackRock or anything, because it just makes sense of how the government works. Let's see, what else do we have going on with this story? The other part I wanted to bring up was, again, this is an earnings call, and you can see here Novogratz told shareholders this during Galaxy's August 8th Q2 earnings call, where the digital asset company reported a $46 million loss. $46 million loss. So this is that whole game right here. And it's messed up, but it is what it is, and it works out. But he's playing that investor money game where he's like, I know I messed this up with the tattoo and everything. I know I got the tattoo. I was wrong, and we're down 46 million. But before you pull out, just wait. Better in 6 months, we'll have that shiny new ETF we've been talking about. So what if we do have the ETF? We don't know. Like, again, we keep assuming, and we as a Bitcoin and a crypto community keep assuming that an ETF equals mass adoption and prices going crazy. Yes, if everything were to make sense in a perfect world, that would happen. You get ETFs, you have to buy the underlying asset, But again, we are still not accounting for people who are going to offer ETFs and not have the underlying asset in whole. That is going to happen. Why wouldn't it happen when I can get registered and certified from the government that I'm able to provide ETFs? I can sell $1 billion worth of ETFs and maybe only buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin. By the time you all find out what I've done, I had the money for lawyers, legal fees, figure this thing out in 6 to 8 years or whatever, okay? I think that's going to happen. I think a part of that might happen. I think we might see what we saw with futures, where literally futures came out and the price of Bitcoin dipped. So this is a possibility that these derivatives could actually jack up the market as it stands in the short term. So, or the volatility could go either direction. So we keep assuming that, hey, these ETFs are coming. This is all good. That's what he's hoping. He's hoping the ETFs come and that $46 million hole he has for investors could be softened a bit, right? It could go in the opposite direction. That's what he's expecting. That's the game he's playing right now. It's a Q2 earnings call. I know we lost a lot of money, but guys, don't go anywhere. I got this new thing coming out. Like, I get it. I understand the business side of this thing. And to me, that's essentially what Mike Novogratz is doing. Instead of saying we're in some deep shit, he's saying, don't worry, we got ETFs coming, and it's a whole new game to be played. Now, again, that to me, if I was an investor of Galaxy Digital, I'd be like, no, I hear you about the ETF, but what does that mean for Galaxy Digital? He's saying that also, no, his Galaxy Digital is one of the many contenders for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which they reapplied for in June in conjunction with Invesco, the fourth largest ETF issuer in the United States. Again, that's also Novogratz. I mean, the regulators could really come out and say, hey, you dropped the ball with Terra Luna. Why would we give you an ETF, right? Like, you had your chance for this second or third time now in your third quarter of your adult life. Like, you've had your chance. What if they don't give Novogratz an ETF? A, and then B, what if the BlackRocks and the Invescos are the only two people to get an ETF, at least for the first quarter or so, to give them their head start? Again, I'm not sure why he's announcing this at an earnings call, unless you want your investors to believe that things are still good once the ETF comes out, because you'll have a chance to get into this race or whatever. I get it. Keep stringing them along as long as you can. However, for Mike, like, for this to be an article on Cointelegraph didn't make much sense to me, especially considering that, again, Mike Novogratz might be a great guy, but he hasn't really been hitting home runs in this space, or, to be honest, in the Wall Street space itself too. So not sure why he's being highlighted on the opinion of this ETF. Again, a simple fundamental analysis can kind of tell you when the ETF would come, if it does, and February does line up. But at this rate, and all the things that are going on, and they're trying to figure out AI, and there's strikes going on in the U.S., like, we might see this go past the happening, which could really get crazy if they wait to actually launch this after the happening. So a lot could come. with that, but we shall see. A lot of people are saying the SEC loses its case against Grayscale, as we expect. The path of least resistance would be a wave of simultaneous approvals for all spot Bitcoin ETF applicants, including Grayscale and the other 8 active filings, says Craig Salem on Twitter. Again, that is perfect world. If you all think the SEC doesn't have any more tricks up their sleeve and they're not, or they're done messing with the crypto sector, you're crazy. So I think we're just starting to see the beginning of this. This is going to be an interesting thing, something that we're going to have to follow. Is going to be like, this is going to be madness. Same as the Bitcoin futures. You remember when Bitcoin futures launched, CME, SIBO, like that was madness for about a good month or two before we realized when we went to that eventual bear market that, yes, they tamed the market and things aren't looking good. Smart bro number 2, thank you for the tip. So I agree their plan is to input major volatility and get an unfair share of the available Bitcoin. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to watch when this could, like, right now you can launch it technically, right? But again, after the halvening, if we're going to be looking at this happening the same way we looked at the last two, where there's a gradual increase in price from the fiat side until an eventual explosion, which I do think could happen again this go round, they could wait until that explosion to say, boom, ETFs. So instead of everybody saying, wow, the price of Bitcoin is 40K, 50K, 80K, 90K, let me buy Bitcoin, they're going to say, no. Buy a piece of Bitcoin with some other cryptos and some other investments in this ETF. It's going to save you XYZ. And we might actually see the steam, the price pump of Bitcoin. We might see it actually decrease. We might see the same thing we just saw at Ripple, where it's just this exuberance. The price shoots up and then it's like, all right, but not much has really changed, and it goes back. Like Bitcoin, we can see that price start to shoot up. And then remember, it's not going to just be ETFs, people, and not like there's going to be ETFs. There are going to be commercials for ETFs. There are going to be education for them. Like BlackRock and Invesco is about to roll out a whole narrative about Bitcoin ETFs and why this is the safe, regulated option for you, the legal option for you. They're going to roll out all this literature, all these narratives, and that is where people are going to head. So a lot of that buying power that we may have saw in 2017 and 2021, that may be redirected to the institutional side with paper derivative Bitcoin. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. We will see. It says Satoshi Slim said your pullout game is like, oh, dirty bastards if you stay with Noble. That's what I mean. It's like, come on, I get it. It's like we're down 46 million, but before you go, let me show you the next trick I have up my sleeve. Like, I don't know. Let's see. There we go. Zyro said, I'm citing my own knowledge. Only place y'all can get some genuine perspectives. Pay the like tax. There we go. Smash that like and share for sure. Thank you. What else do we have going on? Scam tactics. Yep. Billy Crush knows this is scam tactics all day. They're pushing the ETF before the halvening. You already know it. Let's see. And again, to me, until I see anything different, the ETF will just be a derivative of Bitcoin. I don't think it's needed, but I get it. The United States is going to derivative out. Like, here's the problem, people. The problem is we keep talking ETFs and it's centered around the United States. Like, what's going to happen if a Russian Bitcoin ETF becomes popular? What's going to happen if an Indian, Chinese, Venezuelan Bitcoin ETF that works becomes popular? Like, does the US say, fine, we're going to tax Russia's ETFs? Not like anyone can do a Bitcoin ETF. Like anyone in any country can. So the fact that the US is kind of trying to hold this narrative where it's like our Bitcoin ETFs are going to be different, it's going to change the market. Any country could do it. Any country can do it. It's just us deciding to do it as if the entire planet has to wait on us after we do it. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. Jake says it's gonna be bundled in some BS investment vehicle ETF where they have 1% Bitcoin and 99% penny stocks. I can see that. Reggie, what's going on? Reggie Middleton is in the house. That ETFs make money for vendor shareholders, not ETF holders. Exactly. None of which has likely did prudent IP due diligence, which could likely truly dash all of their plans. That's another thing. You know what? Thank you, Reggie, for coming in. Hey, listen, shout out to Reggie. Listen, that is another aspect I'm not even adding into my analysis, folks. Reggie does have a patent. Craig Wright does have patents, like in the United States and in Japan. So, again, if they do pass an ETF, first thing he said, which is correct, the end user wouldn't even be getting paid off it. Again, the vendors, the institutions will be getting the most money from these ETFs, which, again, that's the paper Bitcoin derivatives I agree with. And then the second thing is, yes, What if they do launch an ETF and it does infringe on some type of patent that either Reggie or Craig Wright or one of these people have in this space, and the US finally decides to enforce it? They finally say, so you know what? You're right. We have futures now. We have ETFs. We have this. And then you got to remember, from the government point of view, they don't care how they're getting the money as long as they're getting the money. The path of least resistance. So while they're trying to do the ETFs and do all this other stuff in futures and figure out how to tax Bitcoin, if Reggie just comes up to the government and is like, hey, I got IP infringement on every ETF, BlackRock, Invesco. Who's to say the government just doesn't say path of least resistance? All right, shit, let's have them all pay Reggie. We tax Reggie. Life is good for everybody. Y'all figure out the crypto thing. We figured out our money. So there's different way like this. He's right. This could go totally different ways, especially when you are talking about ETFs and these institutions. If one of them gets caught slipping and has not done proper IP due diligence, and other mature analysis you need to do before you buy or deliver products or arrange products, if they haven't done that due diligence, he's right. Like, this could be one of the biggest honeypots we ever saw, where we have the institutions and companies thinking they're going to come in eighth, ninth inning into Bitcoin and crypto and change the rules and how we view things and bills and all the other stuff. And then as they're doing it, someone like Reggie comes out the side like, all y'all owe me for this IP you're infringing on. So, hey, listen, that, and again, that would be the biggest story in crypto history, like to today. So that'd be crazy. That would be crazy. Tony said, let's see, Canada already has a Bitcoin spot ETF, barely made a ripple. All right. Reggie said, there's no advantage to buying an ETF over buying Bitcoin. And that's my issue as well. Is that, like, not only I would go as far as say there's a disadvantage of buying an ETF over buying the underlying asset. I would say it's a disadvantage and it destroys the market, because again, the institutions then are either buying the Bitcoin or, even worse, selling ETFs and not even buying Bitcoin on the back end, which would be a tragedy if we ever saw it. Could you imagine if it was a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar ETF market, and then once the checks and the audits were done, you find out it was only $100 million of Bitcoin for $100 billion Bitcoin ETF derivatives market? That would crash it will almost be like the whole Tether and Bitfinex FUD, right? It was just like, is Tether real? Is it backed? Is it not? The same thing would happen. Jake said, Cuban ETF won't be popular though. Hilarious. That's true. Let's see. How many Bitcoins are still on exchanges? 2 million, Billy Axe. Exactly how many? Let's see. Don't think that listen, man, it's on air side, but half the time it's just backwards. Reggie said you can't have a prudent Bitcoin ETF without cold storage, and cold storage is patented in the United States and Japan. Ooh, wee. Very true, very true. The ETF simply charges you fees. For Bitcoin, you should have held for free. Exactly. So that's going to be the issue with that. All right. Enough ETF talk. I just wanted to just point out, not only are they not even popular anymore, but another one that's officially biting the dust. Bitstamp to suspend trading of major altcoins for U.S. users. That's right. All the soon-to-be suspended tokens are alleged by the SEC to be securities in his lawsuit against Coinbase and Binance are now essentially being suspended on Bitstamp as well. Axie Infinity, Chiliz, Decentraland, Polygon, Sandbox, Solana, Near, all of those are going to, it looks like, be suspended for customers residing in the U.S. beginning on August 29th. August 8th announcement, trading of those 7 aforementioned cryptos will soon become unavailable for trading for U.S. customers due to recent developments. While the firm did not specify the reason for their suspension, all 7 tokens are alleged by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to be unregistered securities in its complaints against cryptocurrency exchanges Binance and Coinbase. Bitstamp wrote, "We kindly request our customers to promptly execute any desired buy or sell orders involving the affected assets before August 29, 2023. After this deadline, trading activities for those mentioned will be permanently disabled on the Bitstamp platform." They say you can still hold those tokens, withdraw them at any time. You just can't actually trade it. But again, to me, this is the same thing we saw with CoinGecko. You cannot have it both ways. You can't say you want to be on the cutting edge technology, innovation, these type of things, and then the minute a government says, well, you can't do it or this is wrong, you just capitulate. I mean, if we're going to listen to the government and not fight back, let's be clear. If we were to listen to the government and not fight back, I will be 3/5 a person. I would not be considered a whole human being, according to the United States government at one point in our history. In fact, at the point of history where the United States made the fucking Howie Act, I would argue we were still 3/5 a person, right? Like the 40s were black people sitting in the front of the bus. Were they drinking out of all water fountains and using all bathrooms? So the years these actual laws and regulations came down, the same government was also saying black people were less than human. Okay. I just want to, I don't want to go there, but I'm pointing it out to say, well, Bitstamp and CoinGecko, why stop there? Why stop at only Americans can't trade these? Hell, let's go deeper. Let's just say, in fact, certain Americans, you're not even whole people, right? Like, I get what you're saying. You're trying to stay on these governments, aka gangs, good sides, but literally, this is the antithesis of what Bitcoin and crypto is supposed to be about. It's supposed to bank the unbanked. It's supposed to allow everyone to have access to these assets, and instead, you all are going backwards. You're going in the reverse direction, all because of the competition, essentially. The government is speaking up not because of the citizens, your average everyday ones. They're speaking up because of literally 50 bankers and about 5 to 10 multi-billionaires that control a lot of interests across the planet. So essentially 60 to 100 people have the United States government speaking up against Bitcoin and crypto and things of the sort. And the SEC in particular hasn't even gotten the grace from all the United States citizens or the rest of our government. Literally, other government agencies are saying the SEC is overstepping their boundaries. They're being too draconian in their decisions with these securities and cryptos. Yet we have companies saying, doesn't matter what the other government agencies are saying. The SEC said this, we're going to listen and we're going to follow along. That's fine, but I say we cancel these services and exchanges and indicators, the CoinGeckos of the world, the Bitstamps of the world, Bitstamps of the world. To me, they should be out the market. We shouldn't even be using these people or thinking about them if you're still even thinking about them or using them, because they have drawn their line in the sand. And that's what the government and the regulators, ha ha, he is funny now. It's going to be funny until a law or something passes and says, you know what? Just to make taxing crypto easier, we're going to go through the exchanges. We're not even going to go through you individuals anymore. We'll go through the exchanges. And next thing you know, you're using a Bitstamp, you're using a Coinbase, you're using a whatever. And every time you make a transaction, every time you send money there, you withdraw deposit money, automatically you're just getting hit with 3 to 5%. You're automatically getting hit with 13%, 30%, or whatever tax, and there's nothing you can do about it. That is why you have to fight back against these companies in this space that are trying to mitigate any type of loss, whether that loss be a crypto loss in the form of bad trading, or that loss be at the hands of a regulator or a government saying that what you're doing is illegal here. Listen, again, I'm not sure how and why the U.S. got the nod to essentially tell every global crypto company how it's going to move in accordance with every United States citizen on the planet. That is ridiculous to me. But right now it's working. I mean, gang. You got to love it. They just, listen, U.S. ain't even done that for nobody. They just telling people and they just listening. I don't care what country you in. You're not going to be dealing with our citizens. And these places are like, okay, we won't. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. If you know, you know. LOL. I don't know if you remember, but the IRA that blamed Gemini for missing funds is moving to Bitstamp from Gemini. Ooh, you're talking about I can't even think of his name right now. Silbert. Barry, is it Barry Silbert? I'm thinking off the top of my head. His IRA. Are they moving over to Bitstamp? If so, that might be why. I mean, not even might. That's more than likely why they're actually doing that. Then they're like, all right, we are about to get some more heat on us. We're gonna have to do something, and that's get rid of these U.S. customers. It could. All right, what else is going on? Last couple of quick stories. We're gonna be talking CBDCs. It's happening. It is happening. The intranet of the internet, the intranet of Bitcoin is happening. Everything that's been made with Bitcoin, for whatever reason, the government, like literally this is happening again. History is repeating itself. Same way we had the internet and private companies developed their intranets. We now have the internet of money, Bitcoin, and companies and countries are developing their intranets of crypto, their private CBDCs. This is all about to be a waste of time and taxpayer money in every country this happens in, because all the roads are going to lead back to Bitcoin. Why? Because here's the thing really quick. Even though it's going to be a CBDC, which is way more centralized and controlled, you still will have scaling issues. All right. I don't care. Like, people, you're going to have a scaling issue. You're going to have a scaling issue. If CBDCs work the way they want them to work and everyone starts using them, at least per country, they will also have scaling issues. It took Bitcoiners forever, and we're still figuring out the scaling issues. And the same way, again, once the internet was launched and all these companies had the internet, they figured out they had cybersecurity issues. They had scaling issues. Now, too many people are on this server. They had like just numerous issues that the actual internet had already solved. Why? Because there are so many people working on the internet, right? There weren't so many people working on your specific private project that we can't share information with, right? So this to me is going to be the same thing. We're going to have all these CBDCs roll out, and they're going to start hitting their roadblocks that Bitcoin already hit and overcame. And eventually they're going to have to throw their hands up and give up because the resources to allocate to make these projects actually work past the scaling, like at scale, at that point, they're gonna be like, we might as well just use Bitcoin, man. We're talking about hundreds of $1,000,000. We're gonna have to redo this. This blockchain is doing this. It's been hacked. This is going on. Yeah, we got 50 million people on it already. The network can't hold 60 million without doing an overhaul. They're gonna go through all these problems. They're gonna be like, you know what? It might be cheaper, boss. We just use Bitcoin. What? You are fucking fired. Like, but seriously, like that is what's going to happen to me. But before it does, let's go ahead and talk these CBDCs. Russia to begin CBDC trials with 13 banks, according to Olga Skorobogatova, first deputy governor of the Bank of Russia, initiating pilot operations using genuine digital rubles represents a pivotal phase within the project. That is right. The Bank of Russia, BOR, has revealed it will begin testing operations for Russia's central bank digital currency project with digital rubles. The test will begin on August 15th. They said these pilot tests will involve the participation of 13 banks and a restricted group of their clients. So again, this is a pivotal phase that they're saying it facilitates the examination of the digital rubles platform functionality within an industrial context, the refinement of essential procedures in collaboration with clients, potential process adjustments, and the assurance of a user-friendly and comprehensible client experience. So they're just trying to see if it works. It doesn't work, and can people use it? And in addition to this story, we wanted to really quickly speak about Brazil as well, because they're essentially doing the same thing. Brazilian CBDC gets official name and logo. And I was laughing at this because, again, we have officially entered the internet stage. We have the internet running parallel, but companies and governments said, not for us. We want the internet. We're going to rename it. We're going to redo our thing. And again, you all tell me which one's going to last longer, which one's going to be a stronger blockchain. Bitcoin, the oldest, strongest one, or one of these new ones that pops up in one of these countries that is super centralized. Previously commonly referred to as a digital real, it looks like the Brazilian CBDC is getting their official brand name, the Drex. It is going to be called DREX. They developed this by this. It was developed by the central bank, and it's an acronym where the D and R allude to real digital, and the E stands for electronic, and the X conveys the ideal of modern. Well, I swear every time I read CoinTelegraph, I'm reading new fucking words. If these are real words, let me know, people. Modernity. I've never heard of modernity. That conveys the idea of modernity. I've never heard of that. Is it really me who can't talk and my public education failed me? Or are these new words? Somebody let me know in the comments. Modernity. I've never heard of that one. And connection, the use of distributed ledger technology. So who cares? It's Drex. They got a reason why. Listen, this is why I say who cares, because Russia's going to have their own digital ruble name. The United States, once FedNow gets their digital CBDC going, is going to have a name. Venezuela has a name. Like, they're all going to have names, and then we're all going to get rid of them, and then we're going to go back to Bitcoin or some other main crypto. So who cares about the name? It was funny to me that they're actually naming it, because, again, does it get any more internet than this? Like, no one, like, I would say this is probably why, too. A lot of the people who are still in power in these countries, or who have positions of power, they were my age when the internet was happening, right? They were in their 30s and they were 20 to 40 working in these same places, working as regulators, working as politicians, working as government heads. They were in these same positions in places 20 or 30 years ago when the internet got popular. They're still in these same, like, think about it. You talk about Vladimir Putin. Where was Putin at 30 years ago? Wasn't he in the KGB? Like, he was still a government worker. The internet was still happening for these people. So my point is, a lot of these people who are literally replaying histories because they're fucking still in the historical context of what I'm speaking on. Like, we still haven't aged them. I won't even say aged them out, like experienced them out. I don't know what the word is, but they're still in these positions and in these institutions at higher levels than what they once were. So again, They were already adults 30 years ago when the internet was blowing up, and they created their intranets. They were on board. Either they were creating it themselves or their bosses were creating it. They were like co-signing it. 30 years later, we have digital currency, crypto, blah, blah, blah. We have the internet of money with Bitcoin. They say, no, I think we're gonna do what we did in the 90s. I think we're just gonna try to create our own. It's like, bro, it didn't work out before. It didn't work. Does anyone use intranets? I think the only people using an intranet is the federal government, and by federal I mean like literally special forces in the military, and then military in general, because we do have the top secret side. So military in general, special forces especially, and then like CIA, FBI type of stuff. Like they have some private servers, NSA, right? So my point is, it isn't Apple and all, they're not left and right using all of these different servers on their own and intranets anymore. Like that is a thing of the past, with the exception of a few organizations in the United States. This is the same thing. We're wasting time. We're wasting money. They're doing everything they can not to capitulate to Bitcoin. They're fighting and screaming. But I tell you what, you're going to eat these vitamins, you're going to eat these vegetables, and you're going to take these COVID shots. God damn it. There ain't no polio no more. It's COVID. All right. Smash that like and share. We'll see what happens next in the world of crypto. Hopefully we get some good news for tomorrow. See